I believe that whatever we are doing, whatever we are studying, it's all about making an impact, bringing change. It doesn't matter which degree, but the goal is to make an impact. The goal is development.
We are now joined by Miyelani Maswanganye, who just completed a MA in Rural Development. Miyelani, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, thanks.
Let's talk about MA, Rural Development. I want you to find all the words you can possibly find. Just walk me through it. How are you feeling? And, how was, the 45-second, even if it's just a minute, walking through the stage?
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. Actually, I don't even have words to describe how much I am so excited.
Yeah.
And walking through that stage, it's unmeasurable.
Yeah.
It's unmeasurable. The feeling is unmeasurable, unbeatable. And I am so grateful to God for that moment, because I believe that He guided me, He strengthened me, and I did my best, but He perfected everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rural Development, it's your MA. I'm pretty sure it didn't just start now, your undergrad, and then your second belt. I'm seeing you have 3 belts, and then up until this point, MA in Rural Development. Let's talk about you and rural development. How did you come, into the space, and, what is it that pushes you, that has pushed you so far to get to this point where you are now fully completed with your MA in Rural Development?
Okay, thank you. So my journey began in development studies, where I did my undergrad. And when I was doing my undergrad, I discovered my passion there. And I realized that I am passionate about change. I'm passionate about making an impact. And because I believe that I'm a product of, people who believe in change, and they saw a potential in me and decided to make an impact in my life. And I also wanted to go through the same path to make an impact, change lives. And that's where I went to do my honors in rural development. And the reason I went to do my honors in rural development is because I was really grounded in theories. And I'm a big fan of theory plus practice. So I believed in one of the theories by Karl Marx, who believed that if you want to talk about development at a national level or any level, you cannot talk about that without rural community without communities. So there's no way you can talk about development without communities or the marginalized society. So I decided to go for rural development so that I can be really grounded and understand deeply about the socio-economic challenges in rural communities.
Let's talk about your MA. What was your topic? What were you focusing on? And, of course, research topic, you're trying to understand something, find something out. And what was the outcome that you found throughout your research?
Okay, thank you so much. The title of my dissertation is The Contribution of Village Chickens to Household Income in Resource-Limited Communities. So what really drove me to do or to conduct a study on that is because I realized how much these chickens are kept in households where we are experiencing poverty, low income, and we have these breeds or indigenous chickens that are there and not really utilized, at the household level. The studies show that approximately 80+% of the rural communities in Africa keep these chickens. And yet the same households continue to struggle with poverty, battling with low income. And the aim was really to find out how best these communities can utilize this untapped resource, because it's an untapped resource. It has a potential. So when you look at its traits, like they're so resilient, they require a low or minimum requirement. Like you don't have to stress a lot about them. though you can have like some sort of inputs, but you don't have to really struggle a lot about them. They require a low capital, unlike the broilers or the layers. So I wanted to find out how best these communities can utilize this untapped resource and contribute to household income. And my study was collected in Lucina, and where I really found that I had the two objectives, of course, and one of them was about flock size and its impact to household income, and the other one was about factors that influence village chickens' contribution to household income. And what I found, it's so interesting that there are factors out there that are really, affecting these chicken or these communities to contribute to household income. And most of the challenges, most people, like most participants in misconduct, noted that the critical challenge is how they grow slowly, and of course feeding and most other factors that we identified. And we also identified that flock size, is a major determinant of income generation when it comes to these village chickens. That was ruled out by my second objective. So it was a very interesting study, challenging, but very rewarding. And I am so grateful that I managed to be part of this meaningful contribution to the community. So I believe that my findings won't just be findings, but will inform also communities' policies, because there's a lot that we need to do, as well as like maybe looking at the training, the kind of training they offer rural communities to improve productivity in village chickens, and how best they can contribute to household income, with the aim of contributing to SDG 1 and SDG 3.
Yeah, absolutely understandable. 3 belts, the University of Venda. I'm guessing undergrad here, and then your honors. I'm hoping was it at the University of Venda?
Yeah, all of them.
All of them at the University of Venda. Let's talk about your journey. From your undergrad up until this point. How was your journey? How would you describe your journey here at the University of Venda, both as an undergrad student and also as the postgrad student?
My journey was really interesting. It was a journey of faith, focused, minded. It was challenging, but it was worth it. So my undergrad was really good. That shaped the person I am today. And being at IRD really made me to also think differently about the things that are happening in our communities, as well as our country or international, So it was really good. I don't have much words, but the journey was really good and inspiring. The most important thing was to remain focused, determined to the goal.
Let's talk about the fact that you are a UK scholarship recipient. Moving from this, you staying at, rather being at the University of Venda, to moving to a global context. Let's talk about what did that mean for you, or what does that mean for you? Moving from a context of being at home somewhere locally to a global academic space, how was that transition, and how was that for you?
So interesting. The feeling is unmeasurable, like I said, and I am so grateful that I'm part of our Univent slogan. Is it a slogan? I'm not really sure. That I'm being locally relevant and globally competitive. So that's something to be happy about. Not really to say be proud of, but to be happy about. And it's such a great opportunity to be studying in the UK, because you get to understand a lot of things. Being a rural development, where I was mainly focused on rural communities, that also being in the UK enhanced my understanding, that which took me from broaden my horizon, like my understanding and how things are happening internationally, or at the global level. So it's just a good combination. Masters in rural development and masters in development studies. Such a good combination.
Yeah, let's talk about the fact that you said you are someone who believe in, let's talk about theory, yes, but then let's also put it in practice. Well, other people also say that, looking into you staying or rather being in a local area and now being in a global area, we can say that it's quite different. How would you say you are able to stay grounded, wherever you are in global spaces?
Um, what I would say is that you really need to know what you want, where you are coming from. So when you know what you want, when you go somewhere, you be determined to get that thing, and you'll be focused to get that thing. So when you know where you are coming from, it means you never forget your roots. So if you know where you are coming from, you are grounded to your own roots. So as a South African, as a UNIVEN graduate, I am grounded here because this is home. So when I go out to learn, to acquire knowledge, to share, I always think about home. Like, what can I bring home? The impact that I have to bring here. So I said I believe in also in practice. One of the philosophers, Plato, believed that if we are all in the cage and no one knows the light, and we all in the cage, we believe in, we call myth or illusions. So if one of us goes out to know the reality or how the light looks like, and then that person comes in, that person can also rescue the rest of it. I'm just trying to summarize the theory. So this really means that me going outside does not mean I have to forget other people, or where I'm coming from. So when I go out, I'm going to acquire knowledge, skills that can really, really be useful to our community, our university, and South Africa as well.
Let's talk about, you saying that you're going out, you're acquiring knowledge elsewhere. Do you now feel a responsibility to come back, to South Africa and reinvest your knowledge locally? And, if yes, how do you plan on doing that?
That's so interesting. I believe that whatever we are doing, whatever we are studying, it's all about making an impact, bringing change. It doesn't matter which degree, but the goal is to make an impact. The goal is development. So I also believe that if I acquire all the necessary skills and experiences and everything that is required, to bring that change in my community, in my university, in my country, I'll definitely come back and make an impact. And one of the interesting about these scholarships is that they allow you to come back home and make an impact at home. So you are not allowed to remain in the foreign land. Though you can go, but you have to demonstrate that impact. So I am planning to come back here at home to make an impact, sharing my knowledge, looking for opportunities that will allow me to be in the field. Because I believe a lot in practice and theory, like I said. So I also look for opportunities that will really allow me to be grounded in communities, to demonstrate whatsoever I learned in Flash. Because I spend much of my time acquiring knowledge from the theory. And now I want to put that theory in practice. So I'm looking forward to opportunities that will really make me, use that skill, that potential, in communities in South Africa as well.
Most of the time when we talk about, issues of development and rural development, some other people might say, yeah, we're in the 21st century. Let's now focus on all things tech and etc. How would you say rural development is still important to this day, in a world where, it's all things artificial intelligence, in a world where it's all things, robotics, and everybody's just focusing on the tech side of things?
So the first question that I will ask you is that this tech that we are enhancing or you're talking about, what is it made for? Who is it made for? Like, you are creating we are enhancing the tech, like you said, but who are the beneficial of that tech? So it's us, right? So what about rural communities or rural areas? What about them? So I believe that rural development is crucial and very relevant and very critical, because it really allows us to be voices to the marginalized communities, to the silenced voices. So if we are enhancing this technology, which is good, I'm not against it, but we should always think about the ones without voices, the marginalized communities, and how do they even benefit from that technology. So that's where we come in, to ensure that there is equality, that development. Like I said, we cannot talk about development without these communities. There's no way, because they're very crucial. They play part of the country, comes from them. Nations come from communities. So if we neglect them, it means we neglect the whole nation or the global space, because we come from the communities.
Yeah.
So I believe that rural development is still critical at this point, and it will remain critical as long as we are dealing with humans, as long as we are dealing with global challenges, as long as we are dealing with a lot of things that are happening in our country. So I believe that it will remain very, very relevant. Yeah.
Absolutely understandable. I can say that you are a graduate whose journey is quite inspirational, looking at, moving from a local context to a global context. What would you say to a student, to a young fellow who feels that their environment is limiting their future?
I would say to that student or those students, they should not allow their backgrounds to define them. You are not defined by the circumstance. You're not defined by your situation. Or you're not defined by how people think about you. But the most important thing, you should know what you want and be determined, remain focused. That's the most important thing. And you believe in God, pray for divine alignment, because that's very important to me. I would say I believe in God, and I know there is God, and I believe because I saw Him, walking me through, and then this academic journey. So it's very crucial to also acknowledge that, everywhere. And life is not physical. It can be physical, but it's beyond physical. It's spiritual. So it's very crucial for one to recognize that aspect of, divine intervention. And what I will also say is that they should not allow pressure, to push them. They are not late, and they should not be in a hurry. They should just take it, slowly, one step at a time, because that's the most important thing. If you're looking for someone and that person is running you, you don't know how that person is wired to run that journey, and you're not wired to run the same speed. So it's very crucial to understand your ability and how best you can perform, and then use that. Don't compete or don't compare yourself with anyone. You are not late, and remain so focused, so determined. That's the most important thing.
Yes, absolutely understandable. Miyelani Maswanganye, MA in Rural Development graduate. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Congratulations once again. Thank you.
I believe that whatever we are doing, whatever we are studying, it's all about making an impact, bringing change. It doesn't matter which degree, but the goal is to make an impact. The goal is development.